Hello, everybody. Welcome live to 3YDV tonight's broadcast of the Thornton Graphix Grand National Series here from the beautiful Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois for tonight's running of the BagCraft 150. I'm Peter Short, and joining me in the booth here tonight is Garrett Gleason. And Garrett, a really fast racetrack here in Joliet, Illinois. 1.5 miles under the lights. Going to be pretty slippery for the first couple of laps. Then after that, we expect kind of everyone to work themselves into a happy situation. And I'll tell you what, going to be really interesting to see a lot of these drivers out there tonight going for the win.
Peter, thank you so much for having me here in the 3Y TV booth. I think the drivers of Total Nonstop Racing are going to put on a tremendous show tonight for our fans, and I'm excited to see what's in store.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what is in store here tonight, as we are going to see a lot of really fast drivers here at this fantastic event. So, of course, here tonight, it is the BagCraft 150. Big shout out to our race sponsor. Now, there are links in the description here tonight to www.bagcraftcornhole.com, as well as their Facebook link, which is facebook.com/BagCraftCornhole. Make sure you check those out here tonight. There is a poll going on right now that says, have you checked out BagCraft Cornhole yet? We have 2 people saying, yeah, it is awesome, and 1 person saying, not yet, but Cornhole is awesome. Make sure you check them out here tonight. Garrett, really cool to have them on board here for this 150-mile race tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. A huge shout out to Tony Lucarelli and the BagCraft brand. It's a new apparel line he's starting for those who are involved in playing cornhole, and he wants to be that brand that cornhole players go to from the local level to the national level. He wants to see you guys on ESPN, so check out bagcraftcornhole.com and get an order in, help him out. I really like the red, white, and blue BagCraft merchandise myself.
Absolutely, there's some really cool stuff. So make sure you check out that, as well as their Facebook page. And I clicked that thumbs up button. I liked BagCraft here today, and really cool to see those ties here in the Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. Now, we do have drivers out there on the racetrack here in the qualifying session trying to lay down a hot lap time to see which of these drivers will end up on the pole here tonight at this racetrack. We're looking at Nick Chambrone right now as he rides that high line, and look at him hitting those bumps up there, Garrett. That high line can be treacherous, but we'll probably see some drivers running it here tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to see a lot of the drivers head up to that top line, especially early in the run. Make sure they get the cars underneath them before they try to hot lap it or get a fast lap going. So I'm surprised to see it in qualifying, but these guys know how to get around this place. A lot of these guys put many laps in our practice session, so I'm going to have to go with their driving style on this one.
Yeah, that is absolutely the case. Chambrone coming around to complete his very first qualifying lap here. Hopefully he can put in a good lap, and does. He goes second on the board. However, John Cannizzaro, the number 58, is currently the fastest qualifier here at this particular racetrack, but only 9 drivers have turned a time. And as I say that, a new top of the board, it's the USAA number 28 of Tim Johnston. And I'll tell you what, Garrett, ever since those Disney Motorsports drivers joined TNR, they have been absolutely lights out, very quick, very tough to beat week in, week out.
Those guys have been great for this league. They're the top 3 guys in points. They're fast everywhere we go, and these guys are such professionals. They're never shy in helping fellow competitors, helping us as league administrators to get a better product out there, and we're grateful for that. But as a TNR traditionalist to 2005 or winner, I want to see one of our guys get up there and mix it up with them. Hopefully tonight's the night.
Hopefully tonight is the night. This is going to be a very racy racetrack. We've been mentioning that as number 46, J.D. Laird, now going to jump up top of the board. J.T. Poole going to slot into second. So a couple of late qualifiers here. Anthony DeBarro also jumping up to the 4th position in the number 27 DeBarro Sliders Toyota Camry. So another top 5 qualifying run for him. Andrew Himmelman in the number 8 Simshot Chevy Camaro, now going to be up there inside the top 2 as he gets loose right here, and maybe a little bit frustrated in his machine, just trying to wiggle it out there, I think, to kind of show maybe a little bit of displeasure with his qualifying lap time. Maybe he thought that he could find the extra 2/10 that would have put him on the pole here tonight. Kevin Stone out there in the number 14 machine. And Garrett, he's one of the polyhedral cathedral drivers going for that Dash for Cash tonight.
Yeah, Kevin did not get out of Talladega unscathed, and he's going to have a chance to race for our Dash for Cash tonight, along with Shane Ewing and Josh Gerlach. So that's going to be a battle within a battle. So even out of something bad, something good could happen here at TNR, and we'll see how these three guys end up at the end of the night.
Absolutely. So Kevin Stone out there right now. He's going to go around and put in a pretty respectable lap time. He will be 14th in the number 14 machine right now. Nick Cohan in the number 21. That's not how you get the job done there, Nick. He's well down the field right now in the 17th position. And we got Hondo Longmire in the chat saying, let's go Team Dizzy Motorsports, except Cohan, he sucks. Well, Nick's going to have to pick it up here on lap number 2. You see him sawing at the wheel here coming out of turn number 4. Garrett, can he find a little bit more pace on lap number 2? He does. He jumps up to 13th on the board, but he will be starting from outside the top 10. Jimmy McKee in the number 10. He's going to be qualifying down in 22nd here tonight. Jason Gracias, a former series champion here in the Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. He is currently 18th on the board, trying to pick it up on lap number 2. Let's see if we can ride on board with him here, as we just have about 20 or so seconds left in this session.
Gracias took his time getting out there for his hot lap. I'm hopeful that he could put a good lap down here for us in the Max Graphics machine. As he comes to the line, I don't know if that was the second lap or first lap. That was the second lap, up to P8 for Jason Gracias. Usually he likes to start in the back and make some crazy moves through the field. It might be a little difficult for him, only having 7 cars to pass if that time stands.
Yeah, and James Zarello, who is usually very, very quick here at this racetrack, he's going to have to come from way deep in the field, 27th here tonight. Wow. Oh, wow. Let's see if we can bring up tonight's starting lineup here for you folks here on 3 Wide TV. Of course, picking up the pole is going to be the number 46 machine of J.D. Laird in the BagCraft Cornhole 150. Andrew Himmelman will be starting alongside him in the second position, then JT Poole and Tim Johnston on row number 2. Daniel Botafuco, Josh Gerlach on row number 3. Mike Fluffy Tellier, Jason Gracias, row number 4. Anthony DeBarro and Nick Chambrone rounding out your top 10 here tonight.
Starting 11th, we have the number 20 vehicle of Jason Freeman. 12th place, we have Ben Izinga. 13th, we have the Ninja Warrior himself, Philip Scott, followed by Chris Cabot on the outside. Nick Cohan starting for 15th. That'll be exciting to watch him come up through the field, as well as John Cannizzaro in 16th. Kevin Stone, one of our Dash for Cash drivers, in 17th. Alongside him is Casey Miller. We have Bill Edwards, one of our fan favorites, in 19th, and Thuggy Maher on the outside there in 20th.
Yeah, Tristan Thuggy Maher going to have to come from way deep in the field here tonight. Bob Giaquinto, 3 Wide TV's own, will be starting on the inside of row number 11. John Borst in the 0 will be starting alongside him. Then on row number 12, we got Jimmy McKee and Shane Ewing. 25th position, Todd Kirkwood, Kyle Lewis in 26th. James Zarello, you mentioned him, he's going to have to come from well back in the field here tonight, down in 27th. Vincent Valvano, 28th. Johnny Williams, 29th here tonight, sporting a Scooby-Doo car. We will see that here in a little bit. Briar Fritz, 30th. Jason Shue, 31st. Justin White, of course, out of race administrator Hugh, will not be rolling off 32nd. Garrett Gleason, well, he's alongside me. He will also not roll off from 33rd. So Austin Grover and Stephen Kegman will move up 1 row each. Kegman will start 32nd, and Grover will start 33rd here tonight out of the 33 starters that we have here at the beautiful Chicagoland Speedway. We're getting set to go green flag here tonight around this racetrack. You see all the drivers coming down this backstretch. And Garrett, one thing about the backstretch here that a lot of people don't exactly realize is that it's a curved backstretch. It's not straight by any means, and that can sometimes rear its head for some of these drivers, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You see all the cameras in the crowd, everyone getting set to go green flag here tonight. The pace car heads down pit road. We're about getting set to go green flag racing here tonight in the BagCraft 150 at Chicagoland. Garrett, we're green flag.
Here we go. As the field heads down to turn 1, I'm just hoping everybody minds their P's and Q's with the loose conditions in the beginning of the run, and we can get through these first couple laps and have some good racing after that.
And already 2 and 3 wide, a little bit further back in the pack. We're keeping our eyes here on Mike Floppy Tellier. He's already lost 3 positions from the drop of the green flag. As a couple of these drivers around him, Garrett, being extremely aggressive. Look at Philip Scott. We're thinking about maybe going 4 wide coming out of turn number 4. They are 3 wide as Ben Izenga backed out. The Canadian driver sporting the Air Canada machine. But look at the number 99 of Philip Scott all the way down there on the inside of the racetrack. Now here comes Nick Cohan in the number 21 machine. He's starting to creep his way up into this picture. What a battle this is here in the midfield.
What a fantastic battle, and it's not unlike what I saw in practice when I was out there mixing it up with these guys. We have so much talent here in the Total Nonstop Racing League that these guys can go 3 and 4 wide and make it out on the other side to tell the story. So if this is how lap 2 is going to be, I can't wait for lap 100.
Meanwhile, up at the front of the field is Andrew Himmelman in the number 8, who has got himself up to the race lead, got around J.D. Laird. They were your front row, but Laird, of course, picked up the pole award here tonight. I believe that was his first pole award here in the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. Here's J.T. Poole in the 26, now trying to squeak on by for a second. J.T. and, of course, Andrew Himmelman, those two run a lot of races together, especially over the summer. They're both, I believe, now back at school. However, those two drivers know how to get around the racetrack together quite a bit, so we'll keep our eyes on them as the race goes on. Meanwhile, Daniel Buttafuoco in the number 30, who's been having a great run over the past couple of weeks here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, especially last week back at Talladega, where Buttafuoco picked up that win in the Polyhedral Cathedral 160, trying to duplicate that here tonight on the mile-and-a-half Chicagoland Speedway. I know this racetrack is a racetrack that a lot of people really enjoy racing on, as we are hearing, however, Anthony DeBarro, the number 27, we're kind of expecting him to move up through the field pretty quickly. He has not done so. He's still down there in the 9th spot. Ben Izenga in the number 17. He has picked up 7 spots, Garrett, here from the drop of the green flag. I'm wondering if these drivers are kind of having different strategies out there. Maybe some drivers think about saving tires. Other drivers, on the other hand, like Ben Izenga, rushing to the front.
With the 2-tire limit in the pits in this racing league, I'm not surprised that some of these guys could be saving tires here early in the run. But the 4-car breakaway at the front, those guys seem to have it made. They're out of all this mess. Ben Izenga is trying to get himself up to that top 4, but behind him, it could change any second here on this lap. But they seem to be respecting each other now, running pretty much single file as they, well, single file up into an extent. Now we have 3 wide towards the back of the pack leader. Yeah,
this is a 3-wide battle. We got Nick Chambrone in this, Nick Cohan. There's Bill Edwards in the very patriotic number 50 machine. Number 58, that's John Canizaro back there. The number 14, Kevin Stone in the mix of this group as well. Casey Miller in 05. And I think they're still almost 3 wide. There's James Arello. We highlighted his poor qualifying run all the way down in 27th on the grid. He's worked himself now inside the top 20 to the 20th spot right there. Has Jimmy McKee in the number 10 right behind him with Kevin Stone. Arello's eyes set now on Casey Miller. This is some great action, and I'm sure we're going to see plenty of this here tonight. Meanwhile, back up towards the front of the field, here's Chris Gabeau in the number 48 Armorall machine, just cutting off the 20 of Jason Freeman there, Garrett. Not a lot in that, but a good job there by Chris to just kind of barge his way now up into the 7th position. Meanwhile, look at Tristan Thuggy Maher. We mentioned him, Garrett, that he started way back in the field. He's now finding himself up there inside the top 10, right behind Mike Lopitelli.
Tristan has shown week after week that he's become one of the fastest guys in this league. And as we've talked about on other broadcasts, if he could just have the luck to go along with his skill, he would be a contender for this championship. He's running in the top 10 in points right now, but he needs to keep putting these good runs together. And it's nice to see him battling up front this early on in the run.
Look at how much this field has already been stratified, though, Garrett, here in the early running. Up at the front of the field, we got a quick glimpse there of J.D. Laird, who actually just pulled Andrew Himmelman by a couple of car lengths. He finds himself now the race leader, and Himmelman under fire from J.T. Poole and Daniel Buttafuoco here early in this run. We're working lap number 10. It's been green flag from the beginning of the race. We want to thank you for joining us here tonight on 3Y TV. Let's see if we can hit a goal of 10 likes here tonight with this video. Hoping that we can get there. We're already up to 7, so that's good news. We're already making progress. And with the racing that we have seen in the early running, it is very much worthy of a thumbs up. We're looking at Anthony DeBarro here in the number 27. Another one of those drivers, Garrett, that we were expecting to see work his way up to the front. But DeBarro now finds himself down in the 15th position in the DeBarro Sliders Toyota Camry. Definitely not going the direction that we typically see the DeBarro Sliders Toyota working his way around these racetracks.
Yeah, I'm also surprised, Peter. It could be that the setup got tight on him, and maybe he's just not accustomed to being back there in dirty air. I mean, but I'm not going to count him out until the end of this race because he's that good of a racer.
We are hearing that something might have happened to driver of the number 5 machine. Ooh, Johnny Williams getting into the wall, cuts down the racetrack right in front of Stephen Kegman. And Williams in the Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Well, Scooby-Doo is in the infield, now in the pit lane, and barely avoiding that inside wall. That will be a penalty for the number 5 machine, as that will be an unsafe pit entry as well as possibly speeding on pit road. Those two can combine. And let's see if we can get a look at this one on board here with Stephen Kegman, Garrett. This was really close here with Kegman and the number 5 of Williams.
You know, Peter, there's no mystery as to what happened with that number 5 machine. That's all I'm going to say, and I'll see myself out after that. But good job by the 22 of Kegman to avoid Johnny as he was spinning through the infield there.
It's okay. We both got in on the Scooby-Doo puns there during that. But meanwhile, we're back out there on the racetrack. Things starting to calm down maybe just a little bit, as you can see this mid-pack still extremely tight. A couple of the Disney Motorsports machines back here. I'm just wondering, Garrett, maybe some of these drivers are thinking about either saving tires but also potentially saving fuel. I'm not sure if you kind of have a number on what you think the pit window is going to be like, but I just wonder if some of those drivers are thinking about maybe making this on like a one-stop strategy, whereas a lot of the other drivers in the field, like the 46 of J.D. Laird and Andrew Himmelman out there, are pushing their cars and maybe using a little bit more fuel. As you see Himmelman now try and go for the race lead. Daniel Buttafuoco is now up into third, right back behind this group. He got around JT Poole, and they have pulled away up to about a second and a half over Ben Izenga, who's running in fifth.
This is a great battle for the lead. These guys seem to be trading it off. It's crazy how good the racing has been up at the front of the field, well, through the whole field, but rarely do you see the lead being swapped pretty much on a lap-to-lap basis between the leaders here at Chicagoland. Some of these guys, I'm assuming, are saving tires, maybe going to split the race in thirds, but we're going to see, especially if this race stays green, some different strategies as we go on here.
So now we're looking kind of at the battle for position. This is just inside the top 10, where Tristan Maher finds himself in 9th. Phillips got right back behind him in the National Ninja League machine. You cannot miss that bright green. And then back behind them, you got that side-by-side battle. That is Bill Edwards and Anthony DeBarro. Halfway down the backstretch, now off towards turn number 3. You see a little bit of right rear damage as well on Jason Freeman in the Mason-Dixon Racing machine. And Garrett, he's one of those drivers now streaming his races on Twitch, so you can go check out Jason Freeman's point of view if you are interested back at home by checking out his Twitch channel. You can also look him up on Facebook, which is cool to see, as Bill Edwards getting really tight there with Nick Cohan. Cohan just kind of pinching down that number 50 machine as Bill Edwards decides to cut up in front of Anthony DeBarro, and DeBarro's having none of that nonsense. He's going to drop to the low side and try and make that pass stick. I think he might have just been clear for a fraction of a second, but Bill Edwards is still holding on to that spot. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, it got tight once again as the Himmelman showing all that pressure to the back of J.D. Laird.
These guys continue to not be able to sort it out here out front, but it's almost reminding me of a plate race. These guys can't get any separation from each other, and it seems like as soon as somebody has to lift because another car is in front of them blocking their momentum, 5 other cars come into the picture, and you're going to lose a bunch of spots. Look at this racing near the start-finish line, Peter.
Yeah, this is a fantastic group of drivers. Here we go, on board with John Cannizzaro, the number 58 machine, looking out front at this gaggle of cars. And Garrett, when you're back where John Cannizzaro is we're 3 wide. Look at that, 3 wide coming out of turn number 2 I was just about to say, John Cannizzaro probably feeling a little bit boxed in at this moment in time, but you're probably not more boxed in than Jason Freeman right now, as he's still in the middle of 3 wide, getting close. Oh, contact! DeBarro up into Edwards, and oh my goodness, DeBarro up and over on his roof. James Arello involved in that one as well, and my caution flag number 1 waves tonight.
I guess we can't say that we didn't see that one coming, Peter, but it was bound to happen with as tight and as fast as these guys were racing. As we watch the replay here of Freeman's going to get pinched, and let's see what happens. I don't want to talk before I say something wrong.
Yeah, this is, Freeman's right there. They're really tight. Maybe Freeman got a little bit loose. You can see him throw a little bit of counter steer in it to try and stay off of DeBarro. Just hooks the number 27. James Arello nowhere to go. John Cannizzaro absolutely nowhere to go. And then DeBarro gets launched up into the catch fence right there, coming down onto James Arello. That's a tough break for Lorello, who'd been climbing his way up through the field. And then you got the 27 machine there going up and over, rolling down the racetrack. Now, I think the question is going to be, did anyone else get a piece of this one? There's Briar Fritz, who might have just got a tap. Then you got, look at Todd Kirkwood, the number 19 going, splitting the gap. Here comes Vincent Valvano splitting the gap. Oh, Kyle Lewis into the back of James Arello. My, the number 98 the number 18 piling into the back of the number 13. And that was a very long accident that kind of went down. Let's see if we can get one more look at the accident from maybe on board here with the number 19 machine, excuse me, the number 13 machine of James Arello. And then after James Arello, we get a look at it from on board with Todd Kirkwood. And Arello just going submarining, unfortunately, underneath that machine. And look at Todd Kirkwood coming back up the racetrack to avoid the flipping 27 of Anthony DeBarro. That's a pretty crazy start to the night. A lot of green flag racing, a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing, but Garrett, it didn't last all too long, as caution flag number 1 is out here on lap number 22.
That's a shame for guys like DeBarro and Lorello and Freeman, who are fast every week and running for the championship. But it certainly looked like DeBarro hit one of those curbs at the Indy Road Course yesterday. That's how much air his car got. But the guys that in the back of the pack, this is good for you, right? Because now you're going to be able to gain those points. You're going to be able to run further up in the running order than you would normally, and maybe you could make something out of this race tonight that you wouldn't normally be if those guys were in the field. I mean, it's a shame that fast cars got taken out, but these other guys need to capitalize on this for the championship.
That is absolutely the case. Now, just checking out the chat that we have here tonight on 3 Wide TV, we have SB Designs in the chat, checking out Jimmy McKee, and a really, really, really good-looking number 10 machine. I love, Garrett, that color combination that you see right there, that deep blue, that midnight blue, and the bright yellow just absolutely pops on the screen. It's, in my opinion, one of the best-looking cars out there in the field that we have here. We got a lot of talented artists, and SB Designs on that number 10 make a really mean looking race car right there. And you know, that midnight blue, back in the day when I was growing up, my dad used to own an Oldsmobile 442, and it was in midnight blue, and it just reminds me of that blue on that number 10 machine. So really, really cool looking ride, and great to have you in the chat here tonight. We got Tana Himmelman in the chat, Ricky Juggin Reed saying, let's go Todd Kirkwood. Let's go check out Todd Kirkwood. Let's see how that number 19 machine is doing after his antics in avoiding that accident. Currently being scored in the 23rd position, just a couple positions back behind Jimmy McKee. So the Desert Hobbies number 19 will try and work himself up towards the top 10 before the end of the night. Hondo Longmire saying slow claps for Nick Cohan. I think that was in regards to the qualifying that we saw just a little while ago. But one thing that we need to update everyone on, Garrett, is pit stops that we just had here at the Chicagoland Speedway. And we're going to bring up a whole bunch of people right here, because this will tell you a story and a half, Garrett. Because you got J.D. Laird up at the front of the field in the number 46 machine, did not come down pit road. Jason Gracias also did not come down pit road. But then you have drivers like Chris Cabot, Nick Cohan, Mike Floppy Tellier, Tristan Maher. Those drivers elected to take fuel only. Then you have Andrew Himmelman in the number 8 machine, a 14.7 second stop. First driver to take 4 fresh tires. And you have Philip Scott in that group. Daniel Buttafuoco also in the group of taking 4 tires. So basically, Garrett, if you see a time of less than 15 seconds or so, that's a driver who either took 2 tires or no tires. And then the times around 14 to 15 seconds, those are drivers who came down to take on 4 tires. So a mixed bag of different things on pit road, and that's because we have a tire limit here in the Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. You don't want to use the fresh tires too early if you don't have to. But Garrett, pace car lights are off. There it goes, back down pit road, and we're about to get set to go back racing here, Garrett.
Well, let's see how these different strategies play out here as we take the green. I think tires are going to make a big difference here, but I don't think the guys that stayed out or just took fuel only are planning on jumping out to a huge lead and dominating the race. This is all about the end of the race, having that set of tires left. If they could just hold on to some track position for now, it's going to pay off later for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Here comes the rest of the drivers towards turn number 3, racing on by. A little bit of 3 wide towards the back of the pack. We saw a couple of these drivers go, 2 and 3 wide early in the last run. Essentially, 2 wide racing eventually led to the one and only caution flag that we have had here tonight. Nick Cohan has got himself up into the second spot in the number 21 machine. But look who's lurking. Andrew Himmelman, first driver on 4 fresh tires in the Simshot Chevrolet. He now is up into 3rd. Jason Gracias back to 4th, and Daniel Buttafuoco also on 4 fresh tires as they're really tight. Look at that. Garrett Himmelman just peeking his nose there on the inside, opening up a door where it didn't exist.
Andrew's making use of those fresh tires, getting every position he can early in this run before the tires level out to an extent. That move was pretty incredible. It made me pucker a little bit here in the booth, Peter.
I'll tell you what, if it makes you pucker up here in the booth, it makes you pucker in the car. That is for sure. Andrew Himmelman now going for the race lead up at the front of the field. He will blow on by the number 46 of J.D. Laird, as Laird also going to lose the spot to Daniel Buttafuoco. And now the big question, Garrett, is going to be how much will the difference be between the 2 drivers up front now with clean air on 4 fresh tires versus someone like J.D. Laird who did not just come down pit road here. And of course, J.D. Laird, at some point, he's going to have to pit. He's going to have to come down for fuel, whereas a lot of these other drivers in the field who just came down, some of them might have taken fuel only. So that those drivers on fuel only, they can, of course, go further into the race before they will need to refuel, but they still have the benefit of having a fresh tire set in the garage. JT Poole squeaking his way on through. He was one of the drivers also to take 4 tires under the first pit stop here tonight. But I'm keeping my eye on this group right back here with Jimmy McKee in the group. McKee, he took 4 fresh tires, running right behind Josh Gerlach, who did not take 4 fresh tires. I mean, really a mixed bag all the way across the field. And Garrett, I know the tire limits that you impose here in the Film One-Stop Racing League really leads to these types of different strategies and can make it, A, really difficult for us up here in the booth sometimes, but B, makes it extremely exciting for us up here in the booth. And I know I will take that trade-off any day of the week because exciting racing is what people want to see here and what these drivers want to experience out there.
Yeah, Peter, that was the idea behind the tire limit, is to give guys a chance, if they play the strategy right, take care of their tires, maybe at the end they can gain an advantage on someone. I always felt like if you have unlimited sets of tires, you pit every time yellow comes out, you put the fresh tires on, there's no mystery to it. Well, look at right now. We have 3 different strategies out there. We have fast cars doing all 3 different strategies. So, like, if you were live betting this race, you wouldn't know who has the best car because J.D. Laird was out front. Andrew was right there with him. Daniel Buttafuoco was kind of back in the top 5 early on in the run. Now he's right up there with Andrew, running in second.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at John Cannizzaro going all the way up to the top floor to make the 3 wide pass there on Mike Floppy Tellier and Josh Gerlach. Now, Cannizzaro did take tires under at pit stops. So he has, of course, that advantage versus some of these other cars around him that he is racing. He was involved in that last accident, the one and only caution flag that we've had here tonight, getting really close with Chris Cabot right there in his Toyota Supra. I think I incorrectly said Toyota Camry on someone earlier. This whole Toyota Supra thing has thrown me for a loop since, we've kind of gone to the Fox body style here in the Grand National Series in NASCAR over the past couple of years. But hey, it is what it is. Up at the front of the field, Himmelman and Buttafuoco have pulled out about a 4-second lead over JT Poole, as you now see Tristan Thuggy Maher losing out to both Jimmy McKee and presumably John Cannizzaro. Maher, one of those drivers on the older tires, so no big surprise here as the field starts to stratify. The drivers on the fresher tires up near the front, the drivers on the older tires out back, but how quickly things can change here if we get another caution flag and the tires swing in the opposite favor.
I'm guessing these guys who stayed out want and took fuel and no tires want a yellow probably here around lap 50 or so. This way, the other guys who pitted on lap 22 may also want to come take a set of tires, but then again, it would be their last set of tires, so it probably wouldn't be the best strategy move. But there has to be a number that they want these other cars to get to feel like that's going to give them advantage when it matters.
Yeah, that is definitely the case, and of course some late race cautions, throwing some fresh tires then if you still have an extra set can always be beneficial as well. Let's look at this battle right here. Here comes Jimmy McKee, one of the drivers on those fresher tires. He's now caught J.D. Laird. Garrett, to remember, led us back to green flag in that number 46. So it's been, about 13 laps or so since that green flag came out, and it's taken that long for Jimmy McKee to catch up to the back of J.D. Laird, but now got that run to the inside. Look at John Cannizzaro continuing his march up towards the front in that damaged number 58 machine that you see right there. Still really favoring that higher groove. I don't think I've seen anyone like John Cannizzaro here tonight. Garrett favor that high line like Cannizzaro is, and he might have a run here on Jimmy McKee down the backstretch.
I am very impressed with what John Cannizzaro is doing with that top line. He said he's showing everybody in the field, I'll show you guys how to get around this place on the outside with a damaged car, mind you. And he's making up time. He wasn't able to pass that beautiful number 10 car of Jimmy McKee, but he's making ground, and we'll see how the tires react to him running that top line. Where most guys are around the bottom.
Yeah, and you see him finally get that run here down the backstretch, pulling side by side with Jimmy McKee. McKee's just going to roll out of it. That's the very gentlemanly thing to do. Garrett, I mean, the saying is you want others to race you the way you race them, or something of the sort. I might just be making up my own sayings, but there Jimmy McKee said, you know what, John, you're a little bit faster, and he just backed out of it, lets the number 58 go by, and McKee really doing himself a favor there, because if the roles are reversed later in the race, John Cannizzaro might remember that Jimmy just let him on by there, just doing the kind of the heads-up thing. Sometimes you lose so much time racing one another hard that it doesn't make any sense. You're just going to lose a whole bunch of time to the leaders or some of the other people you're racing. So just sometimes doing that is the smart heads-up thing to do. Looking a little bit further back in the pack, here's Jason Gracias and Shane Ewing. This is just outside the top 10. Battle for the 11th position as they run, with the Rayovac number 32 dropping to the inside here through turn number 1 and 2. And looks like Shane Ewing will indeed take that position. We got other battles for position. Look at this gaggle of cars a little bit further back. This is a train of 4 led by Mike Floppy Teller. Josh Gerlach is in this, Nick Chambrone, Philip Scott, and Garrett. These were some of the drivers that we saw up near the front, I should say, at the beginning of the show. But with this tire strategy working out, they've now dropped themselves to the back half of the top teens. They find themselves 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th here, but the racing between them is still red hot.
There is a lot of talent in this part of the field, and I'm not surprised to see the 97 and the 99 working that top line, because those guys routinely are guys to get up there and start making time before a lot of the other people do. Hey, look at it. It's AJ Allmendinger. He just won the race yesterday, and he's here racing at TNR.
Briar Fritz running that AJ Allmendinger inspired scheme here tonight with his win yesterday at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Now we look at this battle. It's kind of a 6-car battle for 14th position from Tim Johnson all the way back to John Borst in the 0. So make that a 7-car battle if I can do my math properly. But Tellier's running that high line like John Cannizzaro. Then you got his closest contender, which is Josh Gerlach. He's running in the middle. Then Chambrone down there on the bottom. So always fun to see the different lines that you see at this particular racetrack in full effect. Now up here, how about this train of cars? That's J.D. Laird, who's now fallen back to 7 in the 46. Remember, he led us to the green flag. He's been caught by Nick Cohan, Kevin Stone lining up to try and make the pass, Shane Ewing, Todd Kirkwood. A couple of these drivers did come down and pit. Some of these drivers decided to take 4 tires. Nick Cohan did not. J.D. Laird didn't pit at all in his number 46 machine. In fact, currently, Nick Cohan, Garrett, is the highest placed driver. Nick Cohan, and J.D. Laird are the 2 highest placed drivers yet to take tires here tonight. But, of course, Cohan has the advantage of him actually taking fuel under that pit stop on lap number 21. And here comes Cohan diving to the inside.
As Cohan makes the pass for 7th there, Peter, I think Cohan's in a very good position because when we were going back green, we were talking about you just want to maintain a reasonable position, and he's staying in the top 10. And if he can get the right race strategy as far as cautions and stuff go, Nick Cohan's going to be golden at the end, and he's already fast. So if you give him an advantage, he might lead the Dizzy Motorsports bunch to the checkered flag tonight.
So just checking in on up front, Andrew Himmelman in the number 8 machine ever since he was able to get to the race lead on his fresh tires. He has not looked back. Daniel Buttafuoco about 3/4 of a second behind. Then JT Poole in the number 26 in 3rd. Ben Izenga 4th. And Jimmy McKee is currently in 5th spot. But your top 5, Garrett, currently separated by about 9 seconds from Himmelman all the way back to Jimmy McKee. I mean, that is absolutely a huge advantage for your 2 race leaders as they run right now. But how quickly things can change. Now, we got side-by-side battle a little bit further back. Here's J.D. Laird and Shane Ewing. Ewing going to look to the inside. As you can see, the graphic on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, Garrett, is showing just how spread out this field is at this moment in time. And that bodes well for green flag racing because the more the field gets spread out, the more you're just racing the track and you're not racing one another. And usually it's when you're racing someone else that you make a little bit of contact and caution flag then waves. So I'm sure some of these people will be excited, like Himmelman, Buttafuoco, and JT Poole up front because they have one less set of tires on their car. But then you have some drivers out there who, might want to see a caution about it.
Peter, I absolutely love that graphic that 3Y TV gives us just so the fans could see and visualize where all these individual racers are on the track. And like you alluded to, with the field as spread out as it is, these guys that are playing the caution strategy, let me get on equal tires and then have an advantage at the end, it's not exactly beneficial to them at this point. But if you're, as we see J.D. Laird pitting for the first time in this race, but if you're Andrew Himmelman, Daniel Buttafuoco out front, you're going to try to make as much time as you can, start putting guys a lap down. So this way, if a yellow does come out, you're golden.
Yeah, you kind of want to protect yourself out there by putting as many cars down a lap as you can. We're looking right here at Buttafuoco, who's just lost another couple of tenths to Andrew Himmelman over the last couple of laps. But I was curious to know when we might see the first green flag pit stops here for J.D. Laird. Remember, one of those drivers who did not elect to come down pit road under the one and only caution flag that we had around lap number 20 here tonight. Here comes the other driver. Oh, Jason Gracias! He messed it up getting to pit road there, Garrett, and he's going to have to back up. That is absolutely disastrous for one of your former series champion here in the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. Garrett, what happened here?
Well, Jason's trying to make pit road here. He's carrying a little too much speed on old tires, hits the commitment cone, and then says hello to the inside wall. Very unlike Jason Gracias, who is one of the smoothest racers out there, but I think his number 1 machine had enough on those old tires, and with that amount of speed, there was just no way he was making it.
And of course, now the big question is going to be, was he carrying too much speed onto pit road? And then there's your answer. He has a stop and hold penalty, folks. That number 1 machine's not going anywhere. That's because of the fact that he is stuck. iRacing will not let him go anywhere. And that is a lengthy penalty, Garrett, if and when you get those. We're also seeing a couple of other drivers come down pit road. Here comes Shane Ewing. Now, he was one of the drivers who did pit on lap number 21, so really surprising to see a couple of these drivers come down pit road. Johnny Williams in the number 5 is down pit road in his Scooby-Doo machine. Now, remember, Garrett, a couple of weeks back here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, we had kind of a throwback to when we were all kids, and Johnny was going to sport that Scooby-Doo machine, unfortunately couldn't, so here he is tonight, finally able to sport the Scooby-Doo machine. As you see, Andrew Himmelman tearing up the racetrack. In fact, just put Bob Giaquinto, 3 Wide TV's own, got the Polyhedral Cathedral sponsored machine out there tonight for the second week in a row. Last week it was at Talladega, and now looks like Bob's going to pull to the inside of the racetrack here and bring it down pit road, get some fresh tires. He's kind of going the long way around. Typically we see drivers peel off, right there in turn number 4 to come to pit road, but he decides to play it a little bit safe there, as it looks like back behind him. Johnny Williams also coming back down pit road, so he must have received a penalty as well. Unfortunate for him. As back up at the front of the field, Phil Himmelman and Buttafuoco, 1-2. In fact, Buttafuoco may be closing in just a little bit. But things starting to just settle out just a little bit out there on the racetrack there, Garrett. This is probably the closest battle for position right now for 15th between Philip Scott and Mike Floppy Tellier.
I believe when we were watching them last time, Mike was ahead of Philip, so it looks like Philip is able to make a little bit of a move on the older tires. Mike holding on to that high line for dear life there as they come out of turn 4 and head towards the start-finish line. I was just curious, when we were showing the leader there, Andrew Himmelman, Jason Gracias was right behind him, and after his incident on pit road, he was 3 laps down. It's going to be imperative for him to get at least one of those laps back the hard way, and then hope to cycle through on green flag pit stops to at least get to 1 down. So, I believe he has passed him.
Yeah, he has. So we'll just see how it all cycles on out. Now, speaking of cycling on out, this pit strategy, the different tire strategy, I should say, is cycling out really well for Andrew Himmelman, as we've had this extended period now of about 35 consecutive green flag laps. Himmelman in that number 8 finds himself still 9/10 of a second in front of Buttafuoco. There's Briar Fritz on fresher tires. We think Briar Fritz should be able to unlap himself. But Andrew Himmelman here catching up to the back of the number 83 of Austin Grover. A little bit of a new look on the number 83 this week. Grover will go 1 lap down. That puts us at just 21 cars on the lead lap here, over the halfway mark here in the Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. Of course, tonight is the BagCraft Cornhole 150. If you haven't checked them out, make sure you check them out here tonight. There's a couple of votes in the poll that you haven't checked them out, so you definitely need to check them out here. As we get to the back half of the race, there's links in the description. There's absolutely no excuse unless you have one of those TVs where you can't see the description. But if you have your phone, pull it out, open up the description of the video, click on the link. You will be very, very glad you did. Some very, very close ties to this 3-wide TV and Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix series community. As Himmelman going to go across the start-finish line. One more lap here, Garrett. Just waiting on when do you think we'll see these drivers come down pit road who are up at the front, like Andrew Himmelman?
Peter, I'm not in this booth because I'm intelligent, all right? You're supposed to let me know when all this stuff's going to happen. You throw it to me, and I don't have the answers. These guys are all on different strategies, and it's incredible. I feel like a fan right now. Usually I'm in the chat, running the league alongside our race director, Justin White, and right now it's unbelievable, like that Andrew staying out there on these old tires, but there has to be a strategy that they're playing to maybe split this last run somewhat close so that they have a set of tires at the end. It's the only thing that really makes sense at this point, Peter.
Well, we're closing in, on 60 laps to go. And if what we saw out of a couple of these drivers like J.D. Laird, who went so long before coming down pit road. Laird made it to lap number 48. These leaders pitted on lap number 21. If they themselves can go 48 laps, that would get them to lap number 79. Take that back. Lap number 69. Can't do math in my head. Lap number 69. So we're closing up on that here very quickly. I don't know if they'll be able to make it to lap 69 or not, but if they can make it to lap number 69, then, that gives them a window with only like 32 or so laps to go. But I would think, Garrett, that the pit window is open, and maybe if you're one of these drivers like, Nick Cohan, who saved a set of tires earlier, I'm surprised Cohan hasn't come down pit road. We know the pit window is open. We know that they can make it the rest of the race on fuel or on tires from here. So, Nick, I don't think Cohan has a lot to lose by pitting early. The only exception would be, of course, if a caution flag comes out. Mike Floppy Tellier is on pit road in the Flat Out Racing Network Chevy Camaro, so I think he's probably listening to us up here in the booth. Says, you know what, that's probably a good idea. Just got to come down, get these fresh tires a little bit sooner, but he will fall one lap down. Here comes Ben Izenga coming down pit road. Looks like Austin Grover coming down pit road. Izenga locking him up on entry. That's not going to bode well for those tires. Good news is he get a fresh set of tires on. But Garrett, only 2 tire sets tonight here, I do believe. So for Ben Izenga, who's already used a tire set tonight, this will be his final set.
You know what, Peter? If I was racing, and again, I'm never the fastest guy out there, as you prove week after week here on Three-Way TV, I think I would gamble on having that set of tires at the end. I probably would have done a fuel only at some point during this run and just hope for a caution with maybe 10 to go and just give it all I have. But, I mean, these guys like Ben, if he's taking 4 tires there, he's out of tires, he's banking on this race to go green. And we'll have to see what happens. It's not to say that he's at a disadvantage at this point, because if it goes green, everybody's going to have to pit. He can make up some time, but it's a risk for sure.
So we got some of these drivers coming down pit road. Vincent Valvano coming down pit road, but we saw your race leader, Andrew Himmelman, JT Poole, your third-place driver, coming down pit road as well. So that will definitely get this full cycle into swing, as Daniel Buttafuoco is your race leader right now. Jimmy McKee going to cycle through to second, 7.7 seconds behind Buttafuoco. Then Nick Cohan in third, still running. Believe it or not, folks, he's still running the same tires that he started the race with. There he is. Tim Johnston also in the USAA number 28, also in that same boat. Josh Gerlach is in the same boat as well. There he is in the number 71, currently being scored in 6th. We're getting word that John Cannizzaro, the number 58, has come down pit road. So Garrett just going to have to stay on top of things here for the next couple of laps. Himmelman, on the other hand, has cycled through to 13th. He is currently the first car 1 lap down. So if a caution flag was to wave right now, Himmelman would get that lap back by a means of the lucky dog. But that just shows how strong that number 8 SimShot Chevy Camaro is, as he can come down pit road, come back out, and still be in the lucky dog spot.
Peter, you don't know, I know I'm supposed to be impartial here in the booth, but you don't know how much I'm rooting for Andrew Himmelman, and not necessarily to win this race, although that would be fantastic for him and his family, who all support him in everything he does here racing-wise. But just for him to finish a race here at TNR, he has had some horrible, horrible luck this season, and he needs this run so bad. And if I was in the field, I'd be rooting him on, and I'm rooting him on here from the booth. I hope he could at least get to the checkered flag tonight at the very least.
So here comes Daniel Buttafuoco coming down pit road now from the race lead. Tim Johnston also on pit road, somewhere back there behind all those pit boxes. There is the number 14, Kevin Stone, also getting service on his machine. He's going to peel out of his pit box right there. So now kind of it's going to be on. Just waiting to see now as the field now cycles to Jimmy McKee, your race leader. There was Ben Izenga, the number 17. And Garrett, I'm just wondering, in the back of my head, we talked about this prior to the beginning of the race, that these cars are extremely loose for the first couple of laps, the first handful, 2 or 3 laps, something like that. And then after that, they start to tighten up. I'm wondering if some of these drivers, they've been out there this entire race on old tires. I'm wondering if they might get tripped up by some of these fresher tires, and might we see a caution because of that? I don't know. Jason Shue there in the number 3 getting a little bit loose on the backstretch. It is still a corner, But as we continue to cycle through, Jimmy McKee, Nick Cohan, Josh Gerlach, Nick Chambrone, and Casey Miller yet to come down, and presumably what would be their final pit stop here under green flag conditions, unless, of course, we get a caution. In fact, I'm going to see if we can throw up a poll for the chat here tonight and see if you think there's going to be another caution flag here at this particular racetrack. So just wait a minute or two. We'll end the last poll, and we'll bring up that poll here very, very shortly. Garrett, what do you think? Will we see another caution flag tonight?
I think we will, Peter, just because of the different tire strategies. Somebody might catch someone at an inopportune time and may cause an accident, as we see the beautiful number 10 car. I know we keep saying how beautiful that car is, but it reminds me of that old Navy Fitzbradshaw Motorsports car comes to pit road from the lead. But Peter, if you don't mind while I have the floor here, I'd just like to give a shout out to a couple people in the chat. Stay Tuned Sports is in our chat tonight. He liked the video. He said, you have to thank him for everything he does for the National Sim Racing Association here on 3 White TV. He's a great sponsor. He's involved. That's the type of person you want around. Catherine Monticelli said she misses the number 7 car out there on track. Of all my friends' wives, she's definitely one of them, Peter. That's all I can say about that.
Well, I guess you're just being honest. Of all your friends' wives, she's just one of them. So, a very honest and accurate statement there, Garrett. Although I do question whether or not you can call Matt Monticelli a friend. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. Of course, for all you people who don't know, Matt Monticelli, one of the people who's been with the Total Nonstop Racing League since the NASCAR Racing 2003 days. Hoping you are fine and doing well there, Matt. They're watching, hopefully, alongside with Catherine here on 3Y TV here tonight. And we want to thank you for joining here for the BagCraft Cornhole 150 as things have cycled through to Andrew Himmelman leading the race once again. And Garrett, he has a 6.5 second lead over J.D. Laird. Ben Izenga, another couple of seconds back behind him. But J.T. Poole, Daniel Buttafuoco, those drivers who elected to go just a little bit longer on their tires, like Buttafuoco, finding themselves miles back in the current running order. And I think that went down to Daniel Buttafuoco, who had an extremely long pit lane time. I'm not sure if something went wrong for Buttafuoco. We'll see if we can go back maybe and get a 3-wide TV replay and see exactly what happened when Buttafuoco came down pit road. But of course, he was up there in that number 30 machine. Let's watch here, Garrett. Let's see if he maybe slid through his pit box a little bit or something. Coming in right here, locks him up, and yes, had to just a fraction of a second, had to back up. And I say it was a fraction of a second. That, on paper, folks, is about, believe it or not, about 2 seconds on the racetrack. And 2 seconds on pit road versus 2 seconds on the racetrack, that is just absolutely huge, Garrett. That's something that's very difficult to make up.
It shows the fans, Peter, that even the best drivers out there can make mistakes with hot tires coming to pit road, trying to get their vehicle slowed down. I mean, we've all done it. If you've raced long enough, you've definitely made that mistake. As we watch Nick Cohan make a power move on the outside of the number 0 of John Borst. But just for the people that are watching the stream and they're thinking, well, Andrew Himmelman's out to this big lead, what can happen? If you watched our broadcast on Friday, anything can happen. JT Poole had that race won, and his internet went out. So keep your eyes on this race. It's not over yet, guys.
And just think about Nick Cohan, who we're watching now, and I'm sure I'll say this, and we'll probably hear it later and think like I'm stabbing a knife into his side. But think about Texas Motor Speedway a couple of weeks back. He had the race lead coming out of turn number 4, and whoa! Okay, maybe I should stop talking about Nick Cohan. Almost gave him the commentator's curse right there. But coming out of that Texas Motor Speedway, had the lead coming out of turn number 4. Colin Ullery blew a tire, nowhere for Cohan to go, and he ended up losing the race. Just probably a football field away from the start-finish line. To lose that race was just absolutely heartbreaking. And so, yeah, anything can happen. You just kind of have to stay tuned, like Stay Tuned podcast, Stay Tuned Sports podcast there in the chat here tonight. But let's see how the poll is doing. 64% of the people who have voted so far, Garrett, think we're going to have another caution flag here tonight, and that would not be good for Andrew Himmelman because he's out of tires. No fresh sets of tires on pit road. Meanwhile, there's some very, very fast drivers back behind him who do have additional sets of tires on pit road. But yeah, some great people in the chat here tonight. Ben Adams in the chat, Jeff Price in the chat. Guys, we really appreciate you joining in. We're at 16 likes here tonight. Let's see if we can push that up to 20. Let's see if we can hit 20. That would be double the goal here tonight. And we really do appreciate each and every one of you. Let's go check out some of the battles that are happening out there on the racetrack. Jimmy McKee and Mick Cohan right here battling for position. This is the battle for 7th right now. McKee has it. Cohan wants it. Cohan has 1 lap fresher tires, and he's going to use that tire advantage to his advantage here. Going through turn number 3 and 4 makes that pass look easy. Meanwhile, back behind them, there is John Cannizzaro. He just got passed by Tim Johnston, who is your points leader, Garrett, here in the Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. That number 28 USAA machine had about a 13-point advantage coming into tonight over Anthony DeBarro. And, of course, DeBarro involved in the one and only accident that we have here tonight, and he will be credited, Garrett, with a 33rd place finish. Absolute disaster for second place in points here tonight.
Such a shame for Anthony DeBarro getting involved in an early accident, but the good news is he'll be eligible for the Polyhedral Cathedral Dash for Cash, and I probably should just give him the prize right away for as fast as he is out there, Peter.
Yeah, and speaking of the Shibby Shack, not Shibby Shack, I just have the wrong things in my head, but the Polyhedral Cathedral Dash for Cash, we had 3 drivers here this week, so why don't you brief the viewers back at home on those 3 Polyhedral Dash for Cash drivers, and how are they doing here in the Polyhedral Cathedral Dash for Cash? I'll get it right eventually, folks.
Well, it's certainly a mouthful, that's for sure, Peter. We have the number 71 of Josh Gerlach. We have Shane Ewing, who's running in 6th position currently, and Kevin Stone in the 14 machine, who is running in 13th. So as of right now, it looks like Shane Ewing is the front runner for our Dash for Cash, but with 20 to go, anything can happen.
Anything can happen, and maybe we'll see different tire strategies come into play for the Polyhedral Cathedral Dash for Cash. I just need to slow it down here a little bit tonight. 20 laps to go, however, and these drivers not showing any signs of slowing down as Shane Ewing and Jimmy McKee battling for the spot right here. McKee has about 19 lap fresher tires, and he will make that pass look easy in the number 10. Very, very strong run here for the number 10 machine of Jimmy McKee here tonight in front of the sponsor. That, of course, always looks good when you can show off a very, very fast hot rod. But he finds himself about 1.5 seconds behind Nick Cohan, and then about another 1.5 seconds behind J.D. Laird. The good news is he has about 22 laps fresher tires than J.D. Laird, so he is closing in on the number 46. But I don't think he's going to catch Nick Cohan, as Cohan fairly recently got around Jimmy McKee. So McKee could be in here with a shot at a top 5. We'll just have to wait and see how it all cycles out. Here's Bill Edwards, a little bit further back in the pack, running right behind Nick Chambrone. Bill, unfortunately, has some of the older tires now, as he's currently running in 17th. And Garrett, I think probably the best way to put it is the tire strategy not working out so far for the driver of the number 50, the Silent Syndicate Racing Machine driver.
Yeah, unfortunately, strategy's not playing into Bill Edwards' hand tonight, but we'd all like to say hi to Bill's mom, big supporter of the broadcast. And Peter, before I throw it back to you, I have a question for you. Obviously, all these guys out here are trying to make up as much time as possible, get the best finishing position possible. But if you're Andrew Himmelman in the lead by 5 seconds, what are you doing anything different to save maybe a little tire or anything for the late run?
Well, I think you kind of have to, Garrett. You have 5 seconds to burn. I know Buttafuoco has 5 lap fresher tires, so it's kind of difficult to maybe give up a whole lot, because you just don't want to be kind of caught on the backside of the curve, if you will, if he does indeed catch you. But if a caution flag does come out here, Garrett, Himmelman's out of tires. So with him being out of tires, he doesn't have the opportunity to come down pit road and get the fresh tires like some of the other drivers. So if you can save a little bit, that might just be the difference between finishing first and finishing second if we have something like a green-white checker at the end of the race. So Himmelman's a smart driver. He will know how to manage that gap. as he unfortunately here has a couple of lapped cars that are racing him extremely hard. That, of course, is Mike Floppy Tellier, who is currently more than 1 lap down. I think he is 2 laps down in the number 97. Possibly a pit road speeding penalty for Mike Floppy Tellier, as his last pit stop was 55 seconds in length. That's pretty much indicative of a pit road speeding penalty. And right behind him, of course, Jason Gracias. We saw what happened to him, spinning into the inside wall. We know he got a speeding penalty. And these lapped cars are really giving Andrew Himmelman a fit here. And this is allowing Daniel Buttafuoco to just start to make some inroads, now down to just under 4 seconds off of this train. Does Himmelman clear Tellier? No, he does not. Though Tellier here not backing down, putting up a strong fight here. And Garrett, I don't blame him, because if he's in that spot where if he goes 2 laps down, his opportunity of getting back on the lead lap is pretty much all but 0. So if he can stay here kind of at 1 lap down, he still has an opportunity, maybe if the caution flag comes out quickly, that he could get a lucky dog or something like that. So Tellier here going to race him very hard, I'm sure.
You can't fault Mike for trying to get back to -1, but and to the same point, you don't want to neuter Andrew Himmelman's ability on the track. Like, he's fast, he goes for it all the time, but like we just talked about, maybe it's not worth racing the 97 who's trying to get to 1 lap down. Maybe you should be saving a little bit of tire here. Mike's not holding him up. Oh, as he nudges him there, Peter.
Yeah, maybe Himmelman showing a little bit of displeasure, just tapping the rear of that number 97 machine. You can see at the bottom of your screen that Himmelman is bleeding time right now to Buttafuoco, who's closing in anywhere from about 2/10 to almost 4/10 over the last couple of laps. Now Himmelman finally able to clear Tellier, and that is going to be good for Himmelman, I'm sure, getting clean air on the nose of the number 8 Simshot Chevrolet. But to Tellier there saying, hey, you know what, I'm no slouch either in my FRN Chevy Camaro, so if you gonna try and lead this train, you better start pulling away. But let's see what this does to the lap times at the bottom of your screen now that Himmelman is clear. I'd expect to see Himmelman here able to kind of negate any benefit that Buttafuoco has, as of course we only have 10 laps to go. About 1/10 of a second that time. Buttafuoco's 3 seconds back, so we know Buttafuoco has slightly fresher tires, but that is a pretty big advantage for driver of the number 8 machine at this current junction of the race if we see no further caution flags. Let's go check out some other battles. However, this is John Borsch, John Cannizzaro. This is a battle, an important battle, folks. This is a battle for the 10th position, and Borsch just getting a little bit tight down there on the inside line, just sliding up and almost making contact with John Cannizzaro, but some good hard racing here for a very important position, Garrett.
You certainly set the goal before the race to run into the top 10, and there's that big difference between 11th place and 10th place. If you could help it, you want to get that top 10, and the 0 and the 58, that's still a remarkable run. I don't know how bad his damage was, but it didn't look great after that first incident, as it looks like the 0 of John Borsch clears him, and Josh Gerlach gets into the picture here.
8 more laps to go here in the BagCraft Cornhole 150. And still some great battles out there on the racetrack. Now Josh Gerlach looking to the inside. Cannizzaro throwing maybe a little bit of a late block on the number 71. But Gerlach able to roll the bottom side of the racetrack. Can he get a good run out of turn number 4? No, he cannot. Cannizzaro put it on lap number 63. Gerlach put it on lap number 69. So 6-lap advantage for Gerlach on his tires. But at this stage of the run, Garrett, usually things start to kind of plateau, they even out, but Gerlach here saying, you know what, Peter, you're a load of garbage, and you're full of garbage on that, and he's using those fresher tires to his advantage. Goes around the outside, and he will now pick up the 11th spot, and now he's going to try to go for that lucky number 10, the top 10, as we see right in front of him, John Borsch and Shane Ewing side by side.
If you're the leader, or if you're in the leader's fan group and his family there, you definitely get a little nervous seeing these guys, because all it takes is somebody diving underneath somebody and pushing up the track, as we see a lap car there having an issue. And the leader is 3 wide, Peter.
Yeah, this is contact, Andrew Himmelman, contact with Bill Edwards, and somehow Bill Edwards able to save it, still trying to save it. And oh my, Garrett, that was very hairy for your race leader, Andrew Himmelman.
If Andrew stays out front and wins this race, I have Bill Edwards' mailing information. The Adams Himmelman family, please send him a gift basket for not bringing out the yellow there, because if that yellow came out, the A car was done. I don't think that's a shock to anyone, but with no tires, it was going to be an uphill climb for sure.
Meanwhile, that does shrink your race lead down to 1.75 seconds. Himmelman still here. Might have a little bit of right side damage on the SimShot Chevrolet as well. Don't think that is going to play too much of a factor here. Perhaps, Jason Gracias coming down pit road. JD Laird coming down pit road. So, Garrett, these drivers here, who remember did not pit under that one caution flag that we have had, running out of fuel here with just a couple of laps left. This race has gone south very quickly. Bob Giaquinto in the Polyhedral Cathedral Chevrolet out there on pit road as well. He is short of fuel. Wow, what a change in events this has been for a couple of drivers. Remember, J.D. Laird started this race, folks, on the pole. And his race will finish well down the running order outside the top 20. It does look like whoa, Philip Scott getting loose there through the quad oval. Now Himmelman on the high side, and maybe Himmelman here starting to feel a little bit of pressure out back as that race lead almost down to a second. But Himmelman still putting pedal to the metal.
For those of us who gamble or play poker, there's a phrase, being on tilt. I think right now Andrew's on tilt. He needs to take a breath, try to calm down. Yes, these lap cars haven't been pulling over for you, but you have to focus. The race win is more important as we see the number 30 creep into the picture. And if he could get a little bit of a draft here, he might be able to make a run at this 8 car before the checkered flag.
Problem is, for Buttafuoco, he's got 2 hot rods between him. Just thinking back, Garrett, him sliding through his pit box there under the green flag pit stops that we had around lap number 65. How costly is that going to be for Daniel Buttafuoco here tonight? That one small mistake. Coming around turn number 3 and 4, white flag will be in the air this time. Andrew Himmelman just has 1.5 more miles here at Chicagoland Speedway to pick up the win here in the BagCraft Cornhole 150. Chris Gabou battling back there with John Cannizzaro for the 10th position. That battle is still raging on. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, just look at that. That is the difference between 10th spot and your race lead as Himmelman heading down into turn number 3 and 4 for the final time here, G.
Andrew takes it into turn 3. He's going to just get a nice smooth exit out of turn 4 and take the checkered flag here, and he's going to be able to put all this madness with these lap cars behind him as Daniel Buttafuoco makes a run all the way down almost to the infield there to get as much time, much of a time gap as he can. But congratulations to Andrew on holding off a very talented and deep field for the win here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, what a strategy call it was to take tires on lap number 21. How many times have we seen that go wrong for drivers this season? But it goes right for the number 8 SimShot Chevy Camaro here tonight. As Mike Floppy Tellier going around, and Daniel Buttafuoco, Ben Izenga rounding out your podium here tonight. Nick Cohan, Jimmy McKee finishing 4th and 5th. How about that? Jimmy McKee in front of his sponsor here tonight on the channel, able to score a top 5. I believe that is his first top 5 here in the Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. So big shout out to Jimmy McKee for that. But meanwhile, Andrew Himmelman giving us the SimShot moment of the race here on the front stretch, burning it down for the fans here as people still working their way across the line. A great race here tonight, Garrett. Only one caution flag, and I know sometimes that might not make for the most exciting race. However, these drivers are going to thoroughly enjoy a race with so few cautions.
Yeah, there's certainly no complaints, I feel like, from the drivers. If you could have a track with multiple grooves where guys have room to race each other, and the less cautions have always been the better as far as happiness goes. So a huge shout out to everyone who raced tonight on keeping it clean, and a shout out to the administrative team for all the work they do during the week and after the race to get things right around here and to be able to put on a show like this. It makes me proud.
Absolutely. Just trying to see if we can dial up some of these drivers here for a quick interview. Not seeing Daniel Buttafuoco here tonight. Usually He usually comes in just a little bit late, so hopefully he will indeed show up for a little bit of a post-race interview here, but indeed he has. So let's see if we can start things off with the third place finisher here tonight. Of course, driver of the number 17 machine, winner a couple of weeks back at the Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, that is the Canadian driver, Ben Izenga. Ben Izenga, Peter Short, 3Y TV booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Peter, I got you.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know what? I wasn't exactly expecting that pace out of you that you had there based off of qualifying results and maybe some of your practice pace. But here tonight, you made the right strategy call. You took tires on lap number 21. Not a whole lot of people did. I think maybe even had a little bit of damage on that number 17. I believe, if I remember correctly, a lengthy stop on lap number 21 here tonight for the number 17. But you rocketed up through the field, and I finished on the podium. Tell us about your night.
Well, yeah, I struggled in practice a lot, struggled in qualifying. Got super loose on both my laps, but I usually do pretty well here, so I wasn't super concerned. The first run, I struggled a little bit, got pretty tight, tagged the wall, got some right side damage, so got that fixed up on that caution, and then yeah, just kind of figured out the tire saving on the second run, and just went from there.
Well, all in all, a fantastic run for you here tonight. I know last week, Talladega, and back when we were at the track before that, the Milwaukee Mile, I don't think things exactly went to plan for you, but getting things back on the right track since your win back at the Texas Motor Speedway, how good is it to kind of get things going that good here in TNR?
It's nice. It's been a few weeks since I've had a solid run. I was looking to get at Milwaukee, but didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. And yeah, just nice to be back in the booth with you guys.
And of course, next week we go to Nashville Super Speedway. The return to Nashville Super Speedway. Total Nonstop Racing hasn't been there since the days that we were running the NASCAR Racing 2003 season simulator. What are your thoughts of Nashville Super Speedway?
Sub 20th. Bad. I'll be bad there. It'll be ugly.
Okay. Well, we'll have to jot that one down, put that in the race notes for next week. But, you know, definitely a lot better than 20th here tonight, finishing in the third spot. I know you got some shout-outs for the sponsors, so let's hear them.
Absolutely. Got to thank all the guys on my car, Purpose Driven Cycling, USCRL Sim Racing, my teammates at S2R, James and Bill. They both had some difficult nights tonight. You guys do an awesome broadcast every week and through YTV, and all the guys that run and support Total Nonstop Racing, they do an awesome job in this league as well.
Absolutely. Well, great to have you and all of the Silent Syndicate drivers here in the Total Nonstop Racing League there, Ben, and best of luck next week at Nashville. You don't think it's going to go well, but sometimes those races where you don't think it's going to go all too well, sometimes they turn out all right. So we'll keep our eyes on it. See you then.
Thanks.
All right, so that's going to do it for tonight's third place finisher. Let's see if we can get tonight's runner-up with Garrett Gleason, Daniel Buttafuoco.
Hey, Daniel, it's Garrett. Congratulations on the second place run. I'm sure it's not what you sought when your night began. I'm sure you wanted to take another win away from us here at TNR. But my question to begin this interview would be, how did the tire strategy play into your race tonight? We saw you had that little pit miscue at the end, probably cost you a chance at Race Andrew for the win. But just how did the pit stops tonight play out for you in the number 30 camp?
They played out good. Actually, I completely forgot that I overshot the pit box and lost by half a second too. So, yuck. That's a bit painful thinking about it. But no, I mean overall, I think our pits were pretty good. I mean, with the way that these tire races are, it's really annoying for a lot of us because it's a bit of a gamble. You know, I mean, JD was really fast, but he stayed out because he was gambling on another caution, and I decided to use the Texas and Milwaukee strategy that I ran with in those races, and you know, it's worked half the time before there, and decided to take tires filled up full fuel, and was just hoping to go green to the end, and it did. And then our pit stop, I took it really easy on pit entrance because I'm still not confident entering pit road, and I almost looped it there entering, but just braked a little too late entering the pit stall. I kind of thought that the brakes or the tires would grip up a little bit better, but the right front was really bad. So, I was obviously going to lock up and make me overshoot. And I just missed out by just a smidge, which is unfortunate. But hey, I'm still new to this. I'm not even 3 months into it. And but these mistakes will definitely make me better over the long run. And I'll be honest, I can't even believe we gained 7 seconds on him that run. That was wild. I'm pretty happy with how the pace was there at the end. I think I definitely got better as the race went on. So learned a lot, and yeah, I mean, another great points night, another top five consecutive top fives. I think that's the most at anyone this season. So that's it's been a great way to continue our momentum, and got Nashville next week, and I really like that track. So hopefully we can be strong there.
Geez, you asked and answered your own questions. It's like they don't even need me here in the booth, Daniel. You can't
Sorry, man.
get rid of me, but you did such a great job at the interview. You'd never know you were only doing this for 3 months. But so the quick question, because you touched on everything else and you completely ruined my experience up here. But
Sorry, man.
were you able to see the problems that the number 8 was having with the lap cars? They almost brought out a yellow between him and the number 50 of Bill Edwards. Did you see that and think, oh man, this is go time? Because you got so close there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, when I rejoined back on track, I think I rejoined in the effective 5th or 6th. So Poole, Izinga, and Laird were in front of me, and I think somebody else, but I passed them pretty quick. So as soon as I got around those guys, I was just gonna run my race. I'm still new to this whole tire saving deal with the V7 tire model. I was just doing the best that I could to really make sure I didn't burn the tires up, just run a consistent line and a good line to keep both the right front and the right rear on it. And I was trying to keep that up and just do what I could, try to rip the white line really as best as I could, just so that I could save those tires, make sure I had some good front end grip. And once I got the gap down to about 5 seconds, I started to really reel him in about maybe 3/10 a lap, but then we started to even out. And then I saw him with those lap traffic, and I was honestly really surprised he wasn't able to get around him. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if they had fresher tires or if he said he had a little bit of damage. I don't know if that hurt him that much, but surprised he wasn't able to get around him. I was also surprised that the lap traffic were courteous enough to him. But I started to reel him in, and then once our tires evened out, we're about a 10th, maybe 10th and a half quicker. So that was really optimistic for me in terms of longer run pace, and I just kept going, just kept trying to be consistent, make sure I didn't steer too much, get on the throttle too early, make sure I got through lap traffic good, just kept ripping the bottom, making sure I could have enough tire left to keep that momentum really up. Jeez, 2 weeks in a row, I can't speak. Keep that momentum going and make sure that we were there at the end of the race, but just came about half a second too short.
Well, you did a tremendous job, and we're glad to have you here at TNR. You put on a great show, and like you said, you're looking forward to Nashville next week. You'll probably have a top 5. But before I let you go, so we can get to Andrew's interview, because he has school tomorrow. Some people don't realize this. But do you have any shout-outs before we let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to thank you, Peter, for putting on these great broadcasts on 3Wide TV. Everybody over at TNR, Garrett for putting on these great races. Had a lot of green flag races. That was about a 75 lap green flag run at the end, which was honestly bonkers. That's insane. That's a lot better than some NIS races. So it's really good racing product what we have here at TNR. And I wanted to say a big shout out to my friend JD, who did a great job tonight, and he's the one who really got me into this league and has been a good friend, a good guy to talk to, and is definitely given me a lot of great tips how to approach races and just how to improve as a driver as a whole, and also for making me a really nice looking JDR graphics car. A big shout out to all the drivers for making it a very competitive field. All my family and friends for being so supportive throughout this whole esports journey, from NASCAR Heat, soon to be NASCAR Ignition, and then doing the best that I can over on iRacing, trying to make it up to the top here. So yeah, looking forward to it. Going to be great points towards the playoffs. Want to make it in. I definitely didn't give myself. Definitely is a hard task to do, considering we missed the first 3 races and DNF'd at Iowa, but got 2 more races left to really get it done, and hopefully I can perform well at Nashville and Charlotte in those next 2 races and make it to the playoffs and go for a championship.
Well, thanks for the interview, Daniel, and good luck next week, because I think Peter's caught up with Andrew Himmelman, our young race winner.
See you guys.
Yeah, I'm running down here to Victory Lane, where I have caught up with tonight's race winner, Mr. Andrew Himmelman. And I'll tell you what, Andrew, those last 15 to 20 laps. You were given a lot of grief by a couple of the lap cars out there, almost coming to blows there with Bill Edwards. A little bit of argy-barginess coming out of turn number 2 with about 6 or so laps to go. Walk us through those last 20 laps and really just tell us about your entire race up to that point.
Yeah, feel like we had good speed all night long. The first 20 lap run, I feel like we had like leader speed. There was just no real way to pass. I mean, you could try it, but he was kind of guarding the middle, so I had really no choice but to just ride behind him until pit stops. But yeah, we took the tires and it ended up paying off. You know, those tire limits, real gamble there. I've been bit in the butt there many times because the caution wouldn't come out. So finally, it played in favor, and we were able to gain the lead. We never looked back. So I know after the pit stops, we cycled out 7 seconds ahead of Daniel. And it just started dwindling. And then lap cars racing. Hey, I mean, that's fine. They're racing. They don't want to finish a lap down. So I'm cool with that. They were just racing hard. That's fine by me. My fault on the Bill thing. I wasn't trying to wreck him. It was just I got a little aggressive and it almost went the wrong way. But happy we were able to hold that off because we're becoming known as the last place king here. So finally happy to get a win.
Yeah, and looking back at your score of points so far this season, entering tonight, you were only, believe it or not, about 50 or so points in front of me, and I've only made one start this season. So what a way to turn around your season here tonight. 6 starts. Entering into tonight and looking at it, Talladega 24th, Texas 32nd, 39th at Phoenix, 36th at Auto Club, 26th at iRacing Super Speedway, and now you're able to add a win to that. With the finishes you've had, the poor finishes that you've had, did that go into your strategy call on lap number 21 to come down and do something that the leaders weren't doing?
No, those other races I just kind of throw away. It's a new strategy every race. You gotta do what you gotta do to get a win. So I mean, it was just I actually I wasn't gonna take tires until the one I was racing JT and John said they were taking tires. So I just said screw it, let's take tires. So if they wouldn't have said anything, then I might have been toast. So a fun race all around. That track always is fun. I haven't been able to make a bunch of races here, but it's fun to race here every now and then. Big field, big shout out to Garrett for all the work he puts in and all the other admins.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to see you get the win here tonight. Definitely turning around your season. Next week we got Nashville Super Speedway. We know you were at least quick there this past Friday night in the National Sim Racing Association. What are your thoughts about going to Nashville with these Grand National Series cars?
Yeah. I personally have never raced this car on that track, so it'll be something new for me. I'm not a huge fan of that track, being that it's kind of a one groove type thing. It's just not using my driving style there, so it'll be something to kind of get better at. But you gotta race what you gotta race. But I gotta go week by week here because sometimes I can't make it with golf and school and stuff. So hopefully we'll be able to make it next Monday.
Absolutely. Should be a good one right here on 3 Wide TV. But hey, before we let you go, Andrew, of course, winner tonight of the BagCraft Cornhole 150. Any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
Yeah, big shout out to Garrett. Let me race here. And all the other guys that do this. My family for watching. My mom, granddad, Sim Shots, Butt Kicker, GTR, and hopefully we have the same result this Friday in the championship, and we can bring home a trophy this Friday.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, we really appreciate you stopping by. Congratulations on getting the win here in the BagCraft Cornhole 150, and we will see you right here Friday night on the channel going for the National Sim Racing Association Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series title. Best of luck then.
Yep, thanks, man.
All right, that's going to do it for tonight's race winner, driver of the number 8 machine, Mr. Andrew Himmelman. I know he has some post-race duties to do himself. Go and take some cool photos of the drivers, Mr. Sim Shots himself. But Garrett, I think it's about time, and hopefully, we can do this. It has not been working all too great over the last couple of weeks, but yes, we will finally. Finally, it has worked here tonight. Let's bring up the final race results here in the Total Nonstop Racing League BagCraft Cornhole 150. Andrew Himmelman and Daniel Buttafuoco 1-2 here tonight. Only about a half a second separating them at the finish line. Then in third, we got Ben Izenga, Nick Cohan coming home in fourth. The first driver we did not talk to, Jimmy McKee, in front of the sponsor here tonight, running inside the top five. JT Poole in sixth. Tim Johnston, John Bohr, seventh and eighth. Josh Gerlach and John Canizaro Jr. round out your top 10 there, Garrett.
Just to go back to Josh Gerlach in ninth spot, he ended up getting our Polyhedral Cathedral Dash for Cash award for tonight. So he snuck by those two guys at the end and had a good run. 11th place, we have Chris Cabot, Nick Chambron in 12th, Kevin Stone 13th, Shane Ewing in 14th, Ninja Phil coming home in 15th, Bill Edwards, set of tires in the pits, man, 16th place. Todd Kirkwood, who made a tremendous save early on in the race, comes home in 17th, and Casey Miller in 18th. We have Vinny Valvano and Stephen Kegman rounding out the top 20. Take it over, Peter.
Yeah, 21st position here tonight to Jason Freeman. J.D. Laird, who was your pole sitter here tonight, unbelievably finishing down in 22nd after his strategy did not go to plan. That is for sure. Austin Grover, Mike Floppy Tellier, 23rd and 24th here tonight. Speeding penalty on the number 97. Dropping him back in the field. Tristan Maher, Kyle Lewis, 25th and 26th. Briar Fritz, running that to AJ Allmendinger, scheme 27th. Jason Gracias, also pit road speeding penalty for him, 28th. Jason Shue, 29th. 3 wide TV zone. Bob Giaquinto called it tonight with about 11 laps left to go in the Polyhedral Cathedral. Number 23, he'll finish in 30th. Johnny Williams, 31st. James Arello involved in the one and only caution flag with Anthony DeBarro. Both of those drivers unable to really continue all too much after that big accident on the front stretch around lap number 20. And Lorello and DeBarro finishing 32nd and 33rd, respectively. Justin White and Garrett Gleason did not start here tonight. Garrett, of course, you all alongside me, but my oh my, what a spectacular race it was here tonight at the Chicagoland Speedway. And Garrett, I'm looking forward to next week at Nashville.
Me too, Peter. I don't know what next week we'll have in store for myself, if I'm racing, if I'm in the booth, if I get kicked out of the league, who knows. But I'm really looking forward to it, and I appreciate you letting me do this. And thank you to our sponsors, Thornton Graphix, Dunn Raceway Park, and BagCraft, cornhole.com. Go buy some gear. Tony has a young family to support. Let's do him a solid and buy some merchandise.
Absolutely, folks. We really do appreciate BagCraft on board, and like Garrett said, Dunn Raceway Park, as well as Thornton Graphix, and even Master Millwright, who is sponsoring that Dirt League that you guys have back going here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. So a little bit of everything for everyone out there, and gotta say, it is always an awesome time here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. But I think that's going to do it here tonight on the channel. Big shout out to our friends over at SimTV for the camera angles that we brought you here tonight at the Chicagoland Speedway. We'll be right back here next week at around 8:30 Eastern. That, of course, being August 23rd, 2021 at the Nashville Super Speedway. But until then, folks, stay safe, and we shall see ya!